I am Ikram Mansori, COO of Vets in Tech, and this is Pursue Vegas.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pursue Vegas podcast. I'm your host, Dave Berlin.
And I'm your co-host, Tani Nguyen.
And you already know the excitement is in the air, but this is a very different level of excitement because I'm not just introducing an incredibly fashionable woman today. She's also my boss.
Ooh, I didn't know.
And she's a dear friend, and she's a military veteran and advocate for some of the greatest things that are happening in the whole world of veteran transition, expansion. She is the COO of Vets in Tech, and I'm just going to pass the mic right over to you. Ikram, welcome to the show. What are you excited about right now?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I got to put that patriotism in there. What am I excited most about the show? Honestly, this just fun conversation that is also equally serious and intelligent, fun, informative, and leading into the future of Vegas.
Are we going to get a little dark today? Because I feel like the energy is already like...
Let's not leave off this. This is also a very ridiculously good-looking group for a conversation as well. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, what can we say?
Yeah.
You're beautiful, right? Dave.
Very fitting for Vegas.
Did your hair today.
All right. I did do my hair today. I threw the hat on just to keep with the shine from the lighting. But no, Ikram, we met a couple years ago, and really at first I didn't realize that I had met you until we ended up at a fabulous dinner on the Strip.
We were twins that night.
We were twins that night. It was at Benihana. And I remember when you sat down next to me, the lady was just doing her job. Is there anything we're celebrating? And I said, yeah, she's my twin sister. Can't you tell? It's our birthday. And they totally went with it.
They did.
And you probably still have the photo from Benihana.
I do. It's hanging in
We
the
have
nursery.
the desserts and everything. And then this became the game for us at 6 or 7 other restaurants since then.
We've been celebrating our twin birthdays.
Oh my God, I want in.
Yeah.
You became triplets.
I don't think they're going to buy one.
Yeah. We'll go off the adopted route and see if it works.
Yeah.
But no, in that time, that's been, 2 years ago? I think it's coming up on 2 years. Yeah.
Is it? I'm
is.
the worst with timing, timelines, and names.
But you're getting better. You're getting better.
I blame that on my TBI, traumatic brain injury. Had a severe one.
Well, yeah, and that leads right into the convo, right? You're a military combat veteran. You're the COO of Vets in Tech. Mm-hmm. What is Vets in Tech? I know, but I even find out that I'm still learning every day.
Tell me more, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my favorite part about breaking down what Vets in Tech is starting with the backstory, right? Mm-hmm. So we're almost 13 years old. The company started almost 13 years ago in Silicon Valley and founded by Catherine Webster, who comes from a military family, a humble military family, U.S. Army, and then co-founded by none other than the Craigslist dude, Craig Newmark. So Craig Newmark is big on national security. He also does come from a military family. Catherine and him started a Vets in Tech on a hackathon. So it started on entrepreneurship in Silicon Valley. Veterans at the time were like, please do more. We get invited to all these lame job fairs. We need this scale. And so the cutesy Jameer story is Catherine often looks at her dad's picture. He's in uniform. I've seen that picture. And she's worked in tech her entire life. She started a couple billion-dollar companies from within Sun Microsystem. And there's girls in tech, boys in tech, And so she's looking at her dad and she's like, we're about to do puppies in tech. Why aren't we doing more for our veteran community? So that leads to what we do. And that is focusing on transitioning veterans and military spouses into the tech ecosystem as a whole. And we focus through the 3 E's. The fourth E is silent, which we've added just in recent years. So we do education, employment, and entrepreneurship. And then everything we ever do is 100% in tech, in the tech ecosystem. So education, we've built our own academy. We're CompTIA certified. We're Amazon training provider. So all the bells and whistles certifications. We have in-house and we train in-house. And we teach anything from web development, Python, leading to data science careers, AI and ML as well. We're teaching cloud computing, cybersecurity like Sec Plus, AWS, IBM fundamentals, Splunk fundamentals. It's a laundry list of things that we teach and certify in. The one thing that I'm extremely proud of as a veteran myself is that we do not tap into their benefits. It's easy to take their GI Bill, which we can cover that later, what that means, or any additional benefits for veterans or military spouses, but we don't do that. We rely heavily on our sponsors, partners, you name it, to make sure that we train and certify and then place them in tech jobs. So we go from education pillar to employment. It's only fitting that we are headquartered in Silicon Valley, and we have major partners and sponsors, like 40 of the tech giants are partners of ours. And so we host these quarterly meetups or employer coalitions to do a few things. One of them is expose new veterans and military spouses into what the tech ecosystem is, what a career in tech looks like. What does that even mean? Like, what are the possibilities? And the other one is also connecting them with recruiters from these companies. So it's just to make those barriers a little less extreme. Then we have entrepreneurship, which Dave here supports. And the entrepreneurship is where I love to spend my time, despite like having to be all over the place. But we do have a SUN, which we call Startup Network. And that is focused on expanding and offering services and resources for our veterans and military spouse entrepreneurs. So one of the reasons we are pursuing this like really heavy now, and thanks to the support of Dave here, is veteran entrepreneurship, the post 9/11, the millennial veteran entrepreneurship has declined tremendously. So imagine post-World War II, 49% of veterans at that time went on to start businesses, leading to some major contributions to like U.S. economics and better quality of life and employment, employing over 6 million people, $1.3 trillion in U.S. revenue. And the list of benefits continue. And at one point, we were almost at 10% of all U.S.-owned businesses were veteran-owned. That number has declined in the past few years, leading to this need for extra research and also like what can we do more to like inspire our new generations of veterans and military spouses to pursue big opportunities, big problems. You know, it comes with its downfalls, but we need more people pursuing these innovative solutions to just, again, not only is it patriotic, but also contributes to the economic world of the U.S., that is. So inspiring new entrepreneurs, like letting them know that like tools exist, like pick one problem and pursue it. You'll end up with a solution that could be extremely beneficial, fruitful, etc. So we've initiated also, sorry, I'm going on forever, but we also started Vet VC, which is veterans who are venture capitalists, access to capital. We recently did a Vet Cap, which is something that was initiated out of the White House in 2014 with Vets in Tech and others, and it is capital for veterans and military spouses. We put together a panel of experts, a VC, crowdfunding, SBA, you name it, and this recent one, you know, the Lieutenant Governor of the Nevada came out, and we're extremely proud to continue these efforts. We did it in New York. It's our last one of the year is happening in Austin. I'll stop right there. The fourth E is engagement, which we focus heavily on research and policy influencing. So like, what can we do better? Where can we improve? Where can we work together with politicians and others to improve the lives of our veterans and military spouses?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Like, first off, thank you for your service, both of you.
My pleasure.
As someone that is not a veteran, obviously, it's like a couple surface question would be like, you know, why tech? Because it's hard to understand the connection between veterans and what the disconnection or the space in between tech and being a veteran is, from skills that's like taken on from the office space to from the battlefield to leading that on into a leadership role, especially you in your seats and Dave's seat, right? Like, what does that look like of the transferable skills that you see is really prevalent in this type of community, to where you're taking it from the battlefield, quote unquote, into the world of tech, which a lot of people might think of it as like, oh, tech guys are like quiet and they're just coding all the time and they may or may not have the soft skills to network, which I love that you brought up, like engagement, because a lot of that networking takes more soft skills than technical skills.
Right.
And sometimes like it's hard for people outside of the industry to understand the connection between, you know, you're obviously really passionate in it and so is Dave, and you guys want to grow and build like a community and raise other leaders who are also extremely passionate in helping vets and their community and their family to like grow into an industry that it's, you know, it's taken off, especially here, the expansion in Vegas and all that stuff. So like, I'll let you two touch on that since I'm not a vet.
Well, I'm going to pass it to the crayon eating Marine over here. I'm sorry, I ran out of crayons because you eat so many of them. But yes, you can dive into that. You can get us started, and then I'll pick up on whatever.
Yeah, no, so it's funny because when I tell people, and I've actually had some people not get upset with me, but they're like, "You're not in tech." I'm like, "I'm not."
Yes, you are.
But I am. But I'm especially on the entrepreneurship side, right? I've been helping build ecosystems.
Anybody that comes to you, send them to me.
Right? I do, and I have.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, but there's funny because, so I do get a little lost on the tech stuff, but this is funny because Ikram and I have talked about the certifications and all the different education programs, and I do want to take some of these because the joke is easy enough a Marine can do it.
Yeah, that's a whole campaign.
We're
working on.
It's kind of like the caveman,
joke, you
know? the Geico is so easy a caveman can do it, so easy a Marine can do it. But no, there's a few elements there. What I love about it is I love that there is a clear path. There are the clear certifications that I am learning about, I can speak to, but there's not just the education piece to get people certified. There's the employment side to get people hired, which I literally yesterday was talking to somebody who I'm sending to you and I'm putting her in the pipeline to make sure that she gets the right path.
Yeah.
Because I know there is a process for this. If this was something that we invented 2 years ago on a napkin at Benihana, trust me, I think it would be kind of successful, but it's not. It's something that's been a machine for years across multiple cities, across multiple organizations. So they have a process for all that. Where I really get excited is on the entrepreneurship side, and it's trying to figure out where do we meet veterans right there at the beginning of their expansion or transition into their service, from service to civilian life, or for the people that have been out for some time that are looking for more. How can I connect them with the right resources where they can choose kind of their own adventure? And we cover so much of that. So that's where I get excited because some people, they're just looking for that next opportunity. Some people get tired of working for the man. They get tired of just being in another corporate job. But some people are very successful there. And the best part is we have resources that can help both.
Well put, well said. I think the biggest thing that everyone, not just veterans and military spouses transitioning to tech careers, any other groups, specifically minority groups, can pursue careers in tech. The simple answer to the why is that better quality of life. So the average salary for the average job in the U.S. is around $50K. Like if you do get a tech role, it's double that, right? Then the possibilities are endless in this case. Possible remote work. And to Dave's point, when he said we have tracks, yeah, we absolutely have career paths, right? So like you don't have to sort it out all by yourself. So you can come in and take a 1 week, everything we teach is in chunks. So like we're not taking you out of the workforce for like 6 months. We're doing evening classes. We're doing a 1 week boot camp type situation so that you can get trained, certified, and into the workforce immediately. Even if at an entry level, it's still a 6-figure income. It's still possible remote work. For military spouses, especially those of active duty, the active duty spouses having to move every 2-3 years, they can pursue a job in tech and just move along. There's a lot of innovation happening even within the tech giants, Amazon and Google, for example. They've adopted a policy where if you are an active duty military spouse, you can work remote and you can keep your job even if you move. So, and it's done beautifully. Now let's take a Salesforce, for example, or other tech giants too. Salesforce, if you are a reservist who works in Salesforce, and again, you're making tons of money, and you get pulled for duty, they will continue to pay you. So again, these things sound like they should be a federal law, right? Like it's common sense. Like we should be providing these things to our veterans and military spouses, but it is not. These are left up to the companies, right? So there are some great examples there. What we're trying to do on our end, I like to refer to it as low-hanging fruits, and hence the engagement part. Like, what can we do to get other companies to bite on these amazing policies that exist? And there's great return on that. And that's the effort that we keep pushing on the policy white papers, for example. So, and that's the why. It's better quality of life in general. Why not?
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to, lean in on that, just because it's not the question of like, it's more like the transferable skill, because a lot of vets that I've talked to in the past or have been friends with, because I used to work at like military bars, and they come in, we're like by the bases and stuff. And it's all about structure and routine and service and honor. And like a better way to put it is that once you've entered an ecosystem, there's always guidance of like what you need to do next and like orders to follow. But entrepreneurship, it's the opposite end of, you know what I mean? Like it's on the other side, to where it's more self-starting. And for someone to leave that kind of place with structure into entrepreneurship, which seems very overwhelming at first because you don't know where to start or how to start. And that's just my curiosity, because I know that you guys lean hard into like the entrepreneurship specifically. That was the reason for that question. So I love like kind of pulling at that thread of like the skills and stuff.
I love those threats, like I don't have any on my dress. I'm just like, go grab some. I'm just kidding.
You grab your sleeve.
Or my hair. My hair's go. I'll touch on some transferable some skills, and then I would love for you to touch on the entrepreneurship piece. So, I love to say this. So I'm a business PhDer, and my research does always evolve around like, the community that I serve in. I always say like veterans, like the military spends millions of dollars training us. My favorite leaders out of Moonshot Capital, who is a venture capital firm, they say they invest in extraordinary leaders. Most of their portfolio is veteran-led or military spouse. The one thing I would say is veterans and military spouses make perfect sense for PM roles. So the product manager, the program manager, the project manager, the people manager, right? These are really skills that the military just embeds in you, instills in you. You're able to do so much more. We focus on the well-being of our people. Like we accomplish the mission first. So like there's these things, these like values that are instilled in us that not only would make great sense in a tech career, but especially in startup. And I give that, in the military, like you're told what to do, where to be, what to dress. Absolutely. But with that comes grit. And with that comes discipline, with that. And all traits and characteristics that make for a great entrepreneur, right? Like resiliency through the roof. And that's what keeps entrepreneurship going. Or so that you wake up every day, you failed yesterday, well, things failed. Today is still the mission. How do I get it accomplished? And then you come up with a back plan. So like we're great at that. So like, oh, this is the mission. It needs to happen at this point. Okay, like let's do our Fraggle. So like we have all these tools And interestingly enough, the father of Lean Startup, which is out of Silicon Valley, and his name is Steve Blank. He built this Lean Startup methodologies and literally from the military books because he's a veteran himself. And so like when you look into Lean Startup and how to run a highly scalable business in tech, you're like, whoa, this sounds like I'm in the military again. So like the operations and how to go about it, the values, etc. Dave?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing
amazing.
all that. Yeah, we're on to it. We're on to some cool stuff. Here's my favorite intersection. And what got me really excited about coming onto the team with Vets in Tech was the entrepreneurship piece, right? You know that I've been fostering and building communities with other veteran organizations, but also with other entrepreneur organizations. You know, I carry the two hats, the program manager for entrepreneurship with you at Vets in Tech and the state coordinator for Global Entrepreneurship Week. I think community building is very important. What I love so much about Vets in Tech is we have the tech side of it, the education and the employment covered, but we're also generating a massive network of very capable people that can cross over into that world and be part of the startup ecosystems. But the challenge for me, the challenge that I'm down for, like 400%, is really maximizing the ecosystems in the city like Las Vegas, which we'll talk about. Austin, Tulsa has even really expressed a lot of interest in what we're doing, which is where a big piece of my heart is from. You took me to New York City for the first time ever, and I just got to see the world through a totally different lens. Miami, all of these cities that have it and want more. Yeah. That's where I'm excited to do what my favorite thing in the world is, and that's put freaking dates on the calendar where we can show up, we can connect the dots leading up to those dates, just like we did with VetCap. And Tani was there when we did the VetCap here at DraftKings, and it's like that started from what you guys had already done in other countries, in other communities, and then we were able to bring that to Las Vegas. And now everyone's watching, like, what's next? What's coming next from Vets in Tech? So we can really kickstart the ecosystem here. But also there's so much that I have to learn from the other communities, knowing that we have an army, all pun intended, of incredible, talented people for product management, project management, and people management that are going to be ready to go at any time.
Nicely said.
So when it comes to all the stuff that we're excited about, I want to bring that down to the level of Las Vegas because I'm consistently caught up with people. I can't even remember who I was talking to just the other day. They were like, wait, what? She's in Vegas? Because while it is headquartered out of Silicon Valley, which makes very much sense for it to be, it's where it was born, it's where most of the access to that incredible ecosystem is, you live here. I live here. Mm-hmm. What do you see? First of all, how do you see Vegas playing into the history of what you're building with Vets in Tech? What do you see as the biggest challenge? What do you see as the opportunity? Talk about building this through Vegas as you not only build this company, but you started raising a family as well.
Absolutely. Love Vegas. So Vegas is a dynamic city. We all know that. Growing tech scene that presents lots of opportunities, not only for everyone, but also for veterans and specifically Vets in Tech. I do see Vets in Tech expanding here, and we've been working on it slowly but surely. Partnering with like local tech companies, I think the start for us is really just focusing on maybe existing sponsors that we already have, partners that we already have, like an Amazon, for example, that have a really heavy presence here, and figuring out what more can we do. We already started with DraftKings, for example. DraftKings is a major player in our world of Vets in Tech and training veterans, specifically in software development, AI, ML, etc. Like this year, we hit 1,000 trained through their sponsorship, which is amazing. Like, how can we do more of that with the easiest way? So, like, what is the simplest way of doing it? This is my favorite design thinking question, by the way. When I get stuck, I'm like, what's the simplest way of doing this? I know there is a simpler way. So I always resort to this. And I think the simplest way is, again, that low-hanging fruit of like existing partners that we have that have heavy presence or second headquarters here in Vegas. How do we partner with them? How do we run more classes? How do we do events, networking, et cetera? So I think the next one we're working on is a networking event in September, right after Sweet World. We're trying to bring together our communities, but also like inform them of the possibilities that is education, employment, and entrepreneurship in tech.
Yeah, well, and we're going to be doing a lot with that too. That's going to be the opportunity as I'm now part of the Vegas Chamber, right? Through Vets in Tech, we're going to be able to cut our ribbon with the Vegas Chamber. And what that does, it opens up the whole network of all of the organizations that they're affiliated with and partnered with. It is a slow burn, and I don't make it any easier. I will make it better, but it's hard because a lot of people have seen me with other organizations here because I've been, raising the flag for organizations like Bunker Labs. And then when I ran the entertainment company, some people are like, oh, wow, what's Vets in Tech? Of course, it's tattooed all over my LinkedIn now. I'll be getting the neck tattoo for my birthday.
For that neck tattoo.
Are you going to get a matching one? Or?
No.
But that way, especially now, that's the opportunity with the Vegas Chamber to not just cut the ribbon and say this is who we are and where we're going, but the governor's office at Economic Development is very excited to share the proclamation for Global Entrepreneurship Week, how that all ties in together and how we get to, in a sense, lead the way for that.
Right. I think what we really appreciate, and this goes across like really globally, because we do have a global presence. So ever since the pandemic happened, we went to virtual everything. Now we're like 50-50. But what that has done for us is we all of a sudden now have like veterans joining from like deployments. We have military spouses in Germany joining us. And so like it opened up this world of opportunities for others, overseas. And so we're trying to maintain a level of that virtual presence so that they can have access. But parallel to that, we're doing in-person revamping of ecosystems. What we're trying to establish here is not only beneficial to Vets in Tech, veterans and military spouses, but it will revamp that whole like ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem here, as well as the tech ecosystem. And I think it can only be accomplished with multiple key stakeholders, and that we're talking academia, we're talking the government, we're talking local and state government, we're talking everything, tech companies, nonprofit organizations, and that's how we get it done.
I couldn't agree more. And one of the fascinating things, we had a mutual friend on the show, Lisa Song Sutton, who's with the Veteran Fund. And it was so great because last year at the gala that we did for Vets in Tech, I got to see her very much in her element, but we were both in a completely different city than where I've known and watched her for so long, because she comes from that space. Now she's in the venture capital world. I was really excited to ask you this question because you not only have you come from a powerful tech ecosystem like San Francisco, you've also helped catalyze those ecosystems across the country. Now that you're here and you've gotten out and about a lot more, despite the challenges that you're having a youngin' back at home, you're still getting out, you're still showing up. What do you see as the biggest challenge that we're facing in the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Las Vegas right now?
I think I actually gave this some thoughts. One of the biggest challenges I've noticed in the Vegas ecosystem, I'm not as familiar with like Nevada as a whole, is the need for more like structured support for tech entrepreneurs. And then especially those from underrepresented backgrounds like veterans. So while there's like a shit ton of energy around this and enthusiasm, the ecosystem is still maturing. Like there isn't enough support resources in terms of access to capital, mentorship, networks, compared to a Silicon Valley or another tech hub. So overcoming this will require a very concentrated and concerted effort from both public and private sectors to build the necessary infrastructure and support ecosystem. I think from a political standpoint and like the state support and even locally, I know we've had conversations and both are on board with figuring out what that looks like, right? And I think it's almost like Vegas is drinking out of like the fire hose, right? Like the pandemic accelerated this move to like Nevada especially from Silicon Valley. And so there is this I'm just kidding. There's this eager on tech entrepreneurs that need that extra like just ecosystem to support them, so that we're making sure that that wealth stays within Vegas, within Nevada, and in turns makes up for employment numbers and workforce development, and I can go on and on. But we need to work better as an ecosystem.
I love that. And, I've brought this up a couple times, and thank you for being real. I was very excited to hear your perspective on that, because you have seen it and you've seen different communities at different stages. I know, in fact, one of the first places where we probably lightly met was at whenever you had hosted, when Vets and Tech hosted a conference back at the Capital Factory a couple years ago. Like, I look at the Capital Factory in Austin, Texas, as that was the solution to them at one point where they were struggling as an ecosystem to just put everything under one roof. Mm-hmm. Now, I've went on campaigns on my own about that, and I've thought, well, if that's in an Omni hotel, we have the coolest hotels in the world. And I just did this like zoom out where if you look at the infrastructure, first of all, parking, dope, we got that covered. Even a convention center can be converted into studio space. Something like the food hall could be converted into Nevada's largest food hall, and it's all people that go through an accelerator just for kitchens.
Yeah.
And then if you start putting different people all under one roof, I thought maybe that's the solution. Deep fake Rio, that would be cool. Just put that out there. Maybe that's not it for us. So I like to think it's important. I don't know when the right time is, but if you, in your experience and wisdom, seeing this from different angles and where we're at as a ecosystem right now, if you could wave a magic wand, what's one thing that you would really think could be powerful for where we're at right now?
Well, let me find my magic wand. I actually brought it with me.
I'm afraid to see what it is. When girls say the word wand, you never know what's going to come out of their bag.
It's my lipstick. I'm just kidding. No, that's a great question, or a way of framing the statement. And if I did have a magic wand, I do have one. I would love to see a fully developed and interconnected tech ecosystem as a whole, right? So like I can go about like veteran ecosystem, but if we have a well-established interconnected tech ecosystem, that also means, the support for veterans and other communities in need of that type of ecosystem, partnership, support, you name it. So would be amazing to have a tech accelerator. Now, I do want to, you brought up Capital Factory, which is a great system that they've built, it's ecosystem that is. But I know Startup Nevada did exactly that, right? So their story is just as amazing. They worked out of Austin because they needed tech workers, technical talent. And then they're like, Capital Factory, like we need this in Vegas. Like, why don't we have this? So they started that. And I know it takes a lot of effort, time. And I believe they've only existed for 6 years, but they've made some major moves here in the state of Nevada in general. But there is a need for more of that, right? Yeah. So one entity cannot do this by themselves. We need a better representation of all groups that exist here in Vegas and in Nevada in general, to not only represent, but once you have people in places, in decision-making places that represent the majority or most of the population, then you have a thorough making decision process and making sure that there is inclusivity happening early on, not like as an add-on at the end. And that's ensuring that exists from the very beginning. So dedicated tech accelerator, robust like partnerships between local tech companies, veteran organizations, and we have like professional teams now here in Vegas. Like, so like bringing in all these like key players, including the gambling, giants, right?
Yeah.
So we certainly want to involve them, and I know a lot of them do have patriotic love and initiatives. So like, how do we capitalize on all of that and just make it even better? And again, if we do this and make it successful, even for our community, the veteran military spouse, we can replicate it and pursue it across all other segments of the tech ecosystem in general.
Yeah. And super shout out to Startup NV. We'll have to get them on the show as well. The hard part that I've seen, and they've been doing that program as long as I've been here, it's the visibility. And that's where, one day I was up on the roof at the roof during MCON, or not MCON, it was during a military influencer conference a couple years ago, looking out over the city. And I'm just like, okay. And it's a fun play on Tupac, right? I used to write the quote, I never said I would change the world, but I will spark the mind that does. I got to this whole thing where we don't have to change the world. We just have to change the way the world looks at Las Vegas. And their program is great. There's programs scattered. For us to meet the way the world looks at Las Vegas, I think one cool thing would be, like you said, with the pro sports teams. We've talked to VGK before, and it may be time to restart those conversations. But whenever people see it in a big way and it's not scattered about, I think that'll start to bring some of that stuff to conclusion, which is why the idea of the Rio, I don't think it's a crazy one. It's crazy to execute, but it's not impossible. It's just one of those things where whatever is going to bring the right visibility for that, then I think the conversation really starts, and then things really start to just...
There's some amazing things that are happening in silo. Like, for example, the conversation we've had previously with JP Morgan, and we found out then that there is a tech summit that's happening like in September. And it's like this really amazing, like they're bringing on like successful tech entrepreneurs, and Horowitz is speaking at this event, and like there's just like so much. I'm like, what? Who's leaving this? Like, where is it? So like there is some major things that happen here. And again, a lot of the big summits and conventions and conferences have moved from Silicon Valley to Vegas. Like, so like, how do we actually capitalize on that locally? Because they do come here every single week, but we're not necessarily tapping into that system or that ecosystem to benefit. There is a benefit clearly in terms of like dollars and like local economy and stuff like that. But how do we expand that beyond the local dollars and local businesses, like to support that, the ecosystem we've been talking about? Like, how do we establish that? So
getting ahead of that too, just to know they're coming to town to begin with, to share that message and spread awareness is what I believe you guys are doing, right? So when I went to your guys' event, like it felt very inclusive just on the entrepreneurship side, not on the veteran side. But like, I just love the way people came together, and like people were like, hey, can I practice my pitch with you? Like, like it's just very fun, and it's very like, what's the word?
Inspiring, motivating.
Yeah, like very connected, and people are getting out of their shell.
Friendly. Yeah. Approachable.
She's like, more words. Yeah. So I just
occasions.
Like, thank you guys for like putting that together, and you as a leader and Dave as a leader in this town to actually like bring awareness to that culture as a whole, because some of it is still pretty fragmented from what we've been hearing in the previous conversations that we've had, like specifically with you in a specific industry,
Yeah.
So no, I think that's just it. Like, I just want to acknowledge you for that. I do have
some big visions for Nevada and Las Vegas in general.
Please do tell more.
One of them is, I believe, there's almost no VCs out of here, like that are Nevada VCs, like registered as a Nevada VC. Maybe Startup Nevada is one of them. They have a a VC firm arm for early stage. But in terms of like, and there is quite a few early stage, but there is no medium-sized checks that are written by VCs from Nevada. And so 4 years ago, we started an initiative called Vet VC, focusing on veterans or venture capitalists. And again, veterans come in different sizes, shapes, colors, you name it. So we do encompass inclusivity. And this came out of a project called Venture Equity Project. So we're trying to figure out, like, how do we catalyze more money into, like, minority entrepreneurs? And then clearly me being a PhDer at the time and a veteran, I was like, oh, a lot of my friends are raising funds right now. Like, let me just ask some questions. And it turned into this whole Vet VC thing that now is led by JP Morgan. So we're a small dog in this world, you know, and we couldn't really raise this baby on our own or even by ourselves. So we're like, hey, JP Morgan, like, you have Spark, which is a project under their racial equity 30 billion commitment that they have. And Spark is focused on funding funds that are managed by minority fund managers, right? And so they've allotted money from that fund to go towards Vet VCs. And so again, we're on our 4th year. We're working with amazing sponsors and partners, including Horowitz A16Z out of San Francisco. Our pitch event, for example, we do an annual pitch event that is sponsored by JP Morgan and others. And we bring in, we've the first few years during the pandemic, we've done it virtual, but the past few years we've been doing it in person. Last year was at NASDAQ Center. This year is at Horowitz headquarters in San Francisco. And we have tech applications like startups. We narrowed down to 10, and then the top 5 we end up bringing to San Francisco, pitching live, and then the top 3 win free money. Like, there's no strings attached, it's grant money. With the support, again, of sponsors, et cetera. We do have an accelerator at hand that is the NetSuite accelerator that is ran by a Marine. And again, George Ploss will be here next month. And so hoping, we should be thinking ahead of how do we leverage all that, right? And I know you and I have had discussions on that. The same thing with Amazon, Alexa Fund or others. So like we, you know, at least get them Amazon credits to AWS credits to use as veteran tech startups. And so like we think about if there is an obstacle, like, okay, like it's not always, sponsorship doesn't always mean money. Like while money is fantastic and we can go the extra mile with that, it comes in other forms as well. And that is mentorship, support, resources, you name it. So we've got to do that here in Vegas, like thinking about what other ways other than capital is fantastic and we need that, but what else can we bring in?
So to that point, and we don't do this. This isn't a put a pistol in everyone's face and get money. But this is our show. We can do what we want. And this is such a unique cause. How can people here in Las Vegas, how can people from in other ecosystems where Vets in Tech has a presence, how can people help you in our mission right now? Is it sponsorship? Is it partnership? Who needs to reach out?
Say something extreme.
More strippers.
Hookers and blow always helps.
Yeah. Merca. Yeah, obviously that comes in different forms, right? So like no specific form is the right one. Clearly we're a nonprofit organization and will continue to raise funds, whatever that means, government, local, state, federal, corporate sponsors, you name it. That will continue to be our goal because we'd like to continue offering these trainings and certifications at no cost to our veterans and military spouses. And I do want to emphasize last year we trained 1,800 veterans and military spouses in technical skills, right? So years ago, when we look at our community, we're like, oh man, like we have low percentage of women coming through the programs. Like what can we do to improve that? And we put effort into that when we went from 3% to 9% to now 20% of our trained force are women.
Wow.
Right? So there is a way, we are not perfect by any means, and we'll continue to learn. We'll continue that cycle of like product developing and like looking at what we're doing right, what's not working, and like reinventing what that looks like in the future. But I think it's important to just be vulnerable. Like, you know, like this isn't like the pretty, you know, cookies and cream show, you know. There is quite a bit of mess to sort through, and we just, you know, raise our
figurative sleeves,
literally. And then I always joke around. We say I have a GSD, I have a degree in GSD. Done. It's essentially what it boils down to, right? Getting it done. And often we make sure that we're in touch with our members because like we care. So our sponsors and what they're looking for, and as well as our communities and what their needs are. And if they don't know what those needs are, like we try to educate them. Like, hey, these are options that you can pursue. I think the other thing I want to mention is our community is now 85,000 strong, like members that are part of the Vets in Tech family. 63% of our members are minorities. And it's not by design. It's just because we offer those skills and trainings and certifications completely for free, and it's done in chunks, and it caters to the needs of the most vulnerable populations within our ranks. And so we're able to provide those services for them. Very proud mama bear moments.
I'm a very proud cub bear.
Cub bear.
I'm a proud
teenage.
You are my son.
I want to be a teenage bear. I want to be a teenage bear. But I'm going through. I mean, it's been great, and I'm so excited. I talk about it all the time, everywhere I go. Because
everywhere I go,
it's important. It's important, and the best part about
drill
this,
sergeant there. I'm just kidding.
Well, the best part about it is that like not only do people get it, but they also want it, and they're like, "This is what we need." Like it's my favorite thing is trying to explain anything that I do, which is always a lot. So on that GSD certification, I have four certificates in 3 different states.
Well, there is a terminal GSD, which is the highest one you can get. So are you working on it?
I'm working on it.
Okay, fantastic. Good to know.
So with that, but every time I'm able to explain what it is that we do with Vets in Tech, I just see people just breathe and like relax because they're like, okay, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It could be, I guess, in that tech space. But at the same time, it's something that's the mission is clear. It's simple, and because it's simple, we can get it done, and we can get 2,800 next year.
Yeah.
Right. And we can just keep growing this thing. So I'm so grateful for you guys to pave the way.
The future is really exciting. I mean, just next week, you know, if you happen to be in Santa Monica, we have an event called Vets in AI, and it's hosted at Disney Hulu headquarters. And we have 2 major panels. One, the focus is Vets in AI and media entertainment. And then like the other one is Vets in AI and, you know, defense. Right. And so even Andrew, who is now like they raised hella money, and it's a unicorn company. We'll have someone in the panel from there. The city locals, you know, the local officials are like, oh, this is amazing. Can we attend? So you see these types of things happening, and it needs to like just replicate itself even here at Vegas or anywhere in Nevada, really. So Vets in AI is like our latest effort that we've pushed early this year, and it's been fantastic. The beauty of it, what's interesting is that when we reached out to Microsoft, the leading companies, like, hey, we need panelists and we're doing this Vets in AI thing, guess what the response? It was a veteran. It was like, so we had like an amazing panel of like veterans from like OpenAI and Microsoft and NVIDIA with like amazing stories from different, like from officer ranks, enlisted ranks, you name it. And And it was just so incredible. And then we did it in San Francisco. We took it to DC, and like the agencies were interested. The White House was interested. And now we're taking it to Disney. So these are the types of things we do. Unfortunately, I can't be there because it is the birthday of my son who turns 1.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, these are the things we'll continue to like just guide, lead, and push for. I do want to put a disclaimer out there. Like, I make so many faces. Because of my TBI and things like these lights, I need sunglasses. I'm an idiot. I'm in Vegas and didn't bring sunglasses. Should have brought them.
The last 5 minutes.
That would make me look so much cooler.
She just came from the club, from the nightclub.
She's on her way to the club.
I can finally look at you without making faces. The whole time, like when he's talking, I'm like... So
you should have said something in the beginning. Girl.
It's okay. Well, I'm a veteran, combat veteran. Like, what combat veteran? You'd be like, oh my gosh, this hurt my eyes. In the words of my brothers, they're like, you were at war. You got like blown up. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, just clean. just mop. I'm like, I can't walk. My back hurts because of, just
getting blown
an
up.
episode. Just, you've been to war. I can't pick up days because I'm a woman. So these are my brothers, okay? So, but anyway.
You're awesome, man.
So as
a reflection of you, baby girl.
Yeah. So, final thought here. If you could give one piece of advice to anyone out there, especially veterans that are looking to get involved, whether it be, Vets in Tech, one of the education programs we have, entrepreneurship, what piece of advice would you give?
Pretty simple. Dive in, take advantage of any opportunities we offer. And that's like, if you're a veteran looking to break into tech, a company wanting to hire veteran talent, a supporter who wants to give back, there's a place for you in our Vets in Tech family and the community. So start by attending our events, joining programs, connecting with others in the network. The more you engage, the more you'll get out of it, and the greater impact you can help us make. I think, simply put, quite frankly.
Perfect. And where can people find you?
I live at 37. Just kidding.
Where can people find us?
Vetsintech.co.
Vetsintech.co.
Yeah, you can email me. You can find. I'm pretty responsive. It might take me a week or two, but I will get back to you for sure. So LinkedIn, vetsintech.co. Make sure you join our newsletter. We send out all of our updates there. And to put it simply, we have around 90 throughout the year, 90 events, virtual, in-person programs. That's a lot. So there's
we're going for more.
Pew, pew, pew. There's something for anyone who wants to participate. I think the biggest thing is we always say, yes, like our services are for veterans and military spouses, but we love our allies. We love sharing what's worked for us and what might work for other communities and how it can be replicated. There's no need to reinvent any wheels, to be honest.
Yeah. I always say I never want to reinvent the wheel. I just want to put some rims on it.
Rims.
Allies. Whoop, whoop.
I just want to make sure the rims are like scratchable, like no detection, because I scratched the shit out of them.
We're still working on that
and again,
technology.
I blame everything on my
No
TBI.
technology can stop the way you mess up rims, Ikram.
Well, yeah, the one thing I wish I had done. You guys are gonna have to host me again, just so I can bring some sourdough.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh.
That's a whole nother conversation. We'll just tease that one. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been my favorite. I'm
just zooming in.
Yeah, this has been my favorite interview thus far. And that's competing with Lisa because I respect her so much in this community.
I love Lisa, so no competition
Yeah.
Next
here.
time we can do them together.
Right? Right?
Putting it into the
Perfect.
universe.
Well, thank you so much. All the show notes will give you all the directions to find where you need to find us.
Not where she lives.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm at Kierman, MMMR, Kierman. Anyway, like that's my socials, but Vets in Tech is the other. Easy to find. But on the Lisa front, Lisa and I have been trying to get together, so it'd be amazing to just get together here.
Yeah, right. That's the trick, right? I just get people in the studio.
sourdough.
We've already caught.
Yes, I will bring fresh sourdough.
There it is, fresh sourdough. All right, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Ikram, for so much coming today and sharing all your passion. I learn something every time I get to be in the same room as you, and I get more excited about our mission to change the lives for more veterans, their spouses, and we get to do it right here from the greatest city on the planet, Las Vegas.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, so please feel free to reach out to Dave and I on pursue.vegas and Ikram directly. We'll drop all the links necessary in our show notes, and if you need any resources, want to connect with us individually, please don't, you see this is how this is happening here.
Pew, pew.
Just get it. We're going to have to come up with that automated intro or outro,
Oh, yeah. No,
which
for
we
sure.
will enter outro.
Amazing. Thank you.
You got it.
This has been lovely.